Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another segment of Hollywood Memories. I'm Dan Roberts, the publisher of The Vegas Voice, and I had the great pleasure of co-hosting this segment with my favorite columnist, and that is Miss Beverly Washburn. As always, thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching.
We're going to do something a little bit different because when I did my research, which is not extensive, but enough, I believe you're the only actress to ever work with Kirk Douglas and his son, Michael Douglas.
Well, I'm not sure that's true, but I did have the pleasure of working with both of them, and that was a thrill for me.
It's always a thrill for you, by the way. You always like them.
Well, I know everybody, I always say that they're so nice, but so far, everybody is nice or was nice.
The day's not over yet. Let's see what happens between you and me. Beverly, you did a movie in 1949 with Kirk Douglas called The Juggler. Talk a little bit about that, because I saw it and I was blown away by it.
Oh, you got to see it? Was it on YouTube?
It was on YouTube.
Everything's on YouTube. Well, I went on the audition. It was at Columbia Studios, and I had to read for the role. Of course, I didn't know at the time who Kirk Douglas was, although my parents did, and that was very exciting for them. But I was too young to appreciate who that was. But anyway, I read for the role, and then got the call from my agent that I had gotten the part. And so I worked on it for several weeks, but they went on location to Israel, but I didn't get to go. I wasn't in those scenes. So the scenes that I was in, they were all done on the lot.
You know, and when you told me about it, and I looked it up, and it's Kirk Douglas juggling, and I thought it was be a pretty light, easygoing movie.
Yeah.
And it was far from it. It was really a serious movie about people from the concentration camp.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a serious film. And it's not ever been a real, I wouldn't call it one of his more famous movies. A lot of people aren't even aware of it. Yeah. But, you know, it did star Kirk Douglas, who's a big time star. And so I had such a wonderful time doing it. And it was, you know, at the risk of sounding redundant, I was way too young to appreciate just who he was. But as I became an adult, I realized that I got to work with basically an icon. I mean, he was really something, and he was just the nicest man.
And yet, again, when I saw the movie, you had scenes, and it was just you and him. It wasn't with other children or other people. It never fazed you, though, doing those type of scenes. No. And I mean, you never told Kirk, listen, I like you to look this way or look that way. I mean, it was Kirk Douglas, and yet it was no big deal.
No, well, not at the time it wasn't. I mean, now as I look back, I feel it was a big deal to have that honor to work with Kirk Douglas. And he lived a long life.
Yes, he did.
Good long life.
God bless him. But again, the idea of it being Kirk Douglas didn't do anything for you.
Not for me, but my parents were thrilled.
Okay, so how about this? When you were doing the scenes with let's say your mom behind the camera, she didn't go crazy looking at Kirk Douglas? Or listen, Kirk, this is what I want you to do with my daughter. Was it anything like that?
I think if she had done that, she probably would have been thrown off the set.
Right.
Because there's that old adage about the Hollywood stage mother. And one day we'll talk about something that happened on The Greatest Show on Earth with not my mother, but somebody who would be definitely called a Hollywood stage mother. It was kind of comical. But no, she just sat there being her sweet self. She always was very unassuming. Just she had a great reputation as far as being a mother of a child actress.
And Kirk Douglas, when he going on a set, getting off, was he a gentleman? Was he nice? Was he polite? Was he like, little girl, get out of the way? I mean, did he call you Beverly? Did he call you little girl? I just find that fascinating more than anything else.
No, he called me Beverly, always her honey. And he was just the sweetest man. And I loved working with him. It was just a real treat. And he was just always just a really kind, caring man.
And you didn't call him Kirk, did you?
No, Mr. Douglas. I was raised that way. Yeah.
And it was Mr. Douglas. And you know what? One of the things that I liked is, again, you were in the opening scenes when he was trying to perform for you. And then they cut back. And then, of course, you had to cry later on. That wasn't a problem, was it?
I don't know why I always had to cry, it seems.
But it was never a problem, either being with Kirk Douglas, who you didn't really know who he was, just some guy, good-looking guy, I assume.
Only because I was too young to really appreciate it. To be told that they're famous or a movie star, I couldn't compute that in my mind. I didn't know what that meant.
And did your mother give you any special instructions, like, Beverly, whatever you do, don't hit the guy, don't step on his toes, or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. Just she'd always say, okay, just be your sweet self and do what you're told,
And that was it.
Yeah.
And again, I saw that the producer of this movie, The Juggler, which is a heavy-duty movie, was Stanley Kramer.
Right. Yeah, that was also a thrill for me because he sent me a beautiful letter that I have welcoming me to the role and saying the name of my character was Susie, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm trying to picture the letter that I have. And it said something to the effect, I know you're going to make a wonderful Susie, and we're so happy to have you on board, and welcome to our movie, or something to that effect. And it was just so sweet. But, of course, I didn't know who he was until later.
And when I saw the opening credits, they had your name right up there, like third or fourth or fifth.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
I haven't seen this movie in a long time.
When you first saw it, did you get a kick out of seeing your name up on there on the credits, or it just didn't mean anything to you?
Not really. I mean, I got a kick out of seeing myself in a movie because I love doing that. And I always had a vivid imagination as a child playing pretend this and, pretend that I was somebody else. So that was kind of fun to see that. But
it wasn't like a real special deal.
Not at the time. Yeah. I mean, it's more so to me now as an adult. And I think I'm so fortunate to have worked with so many wonderful people.
Well, let's talk about another wonderful person. You had father and son.
Yes.
And you had Michael Douglas.
I know.
And that was in the TV show called?
Streets of San Francisco.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I did 3 episodes. And of course, in the first episode, I was so excited because I couldn't wait to tell Michael that I had worked with his dad when I was like 8 years old, because when I did Streets of San Francisco, I was in my late 20s, I believe. And so it was just really fun, and I couldn't wait to meet him. And I was so hoping that he would be as nice as his dad, and he was just darling.
Polite.
So nice. And Carl Malden, who was the other star, they were both so warm and welcoming me, and made me feel so at ease. And so, because we filmed it in San Francisco. And so I couldn't wait to tell Michael that I had worked with his dad, and he was just so sweet about it and got all excited, and it was just really a wonderful experience for me.
So he didn't just push you off either, though. I mean, he was just very polite to you.
Yeah, he was darling. He was just everything I could hope for and more, because, he was a really good-looking guy, and I was in my 20s. I kind of had a secret crush on him, like most women. But he was just darling, just sweet, and just down to earth, and it was really nice. And Carl Malden, too.
And by that time, like I said, you were in your 20s. You were like a veteran of TV and radio and movies. You didn't tell Michael Douglas how to perform a scene, did you? By any chance? Or Carl Malden?
No, you're so funny, Dan. You're so cute. No, they have a director for that.
Okay, but you tell a director. But it was something where, looking back, the idea of doing father and son like that in terms of acting with them, that's really quite a feat.
I know. I love that. I'm so grateful to even be able to say that I had that opportunity, because it was a wonderful time for me.
And just very quickly, the difference between shooting for a movie and a TV show. How much of a difference is there?
Quite a bit, because typically, on a feature film, it's like 3 months or more, even now in today's world. But a TV show, you're in and out within a couple of days. Like they flew me into San Francisco, and, they treat you so well. They put you up at the, best hotel and fly you in first class and all that stuff. It was just really sweet. And then, you film for like 2 days or 3, and then they fly you home, and they have somebody pick you up at the airport. And I mean, they just treat everybody so well. It's such a pleasure to do those things. Yeah. And I feel so honored and so fortunate.
Again, just think you're honored. How do you think I feel knowing that you know my name and you still sit with me.
That I knew Kirk Douglas and knew me.
Michael Douglas. That's fantastic. So anyway, we're going to end this here. This is Dan Roberts for Hollywood Memories. As always, Beverly, thank you so much for putting up with me.
Oh, my pleasure, Dan. You're always so much fun. Thanks, everybody.
And we'll see you again.